What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Today I have for you Talisker 10-year-old. Okay, this is a single malt. It's quite popular. It's one of the more popular peated malts that doesn't come from Islay. All right. Usually, your peated malts such as Ardbeg, Lagavulin, Lafroig, Bowmore, they all come from Islay. All right. This one comes from the Isle of Skye. All right. That's a northern island off the coast of Scotland. Obviously, it's a Scottish island. All right. That's the bottle right there. Okay, a couple things to know about this. It's not heavily peated. You do get peat on the nose instantly, okay? But it's not as heavily peated as your Ardbeg, as your Lafroig, all right? This one has 18 to 20 phenols per million ppm, whereas your Ardbegs have about 100. All right, I'm not exactly sure what the Ardbeg 10-year-old has in comparison. In Ontario, they're the exact same price. They're both $100 to be exact. So if you're going for your peated Scotch, this is equal in price to the Ardbeg. So depending on how much peat you prefer in your Scotch, that'll alter your decision. Lagavulin 16-year-old, I think has closer to 40 ppm. I will do that in the future. It's a really, really good Scotch, but I don't actually own it just yet. Couple things to know here. This used to be the only distillery on the island. They were established in 1830, but now I believe there's a new distillery being built. Okay, it's difficult to get into the distilling whiskey business. It's a huge business. It's huge overhead costs to start up, which often leads to the enemy buying top name brands, and the enemy being big name companies such as Diageo. All right. I gotta watch what I say about Diageo because they could probably shut me down in like 2 minutes, but I'm not big enough for them to worry about just yet. Anyway, they've bought out pretty much worldwide many of the name brands, many of the biggest name brands. So they own Talisker. I believe they own Lagavulin. I know for a fact that they own Crown Royal, and the list goes on and on. It's insane how much Diageo owns. So small boutique type companies and distilleries can't really compete. All right, so it's a lot more difficult for a new boutique distillery to start up than it was 200 years ago when they owned the land, they made a distillery. The distillery's been there for 200 years, and it's a lot more feasible because all that property, all like the machinery and all that, what it takes to make a distillery has been paid off long ago, when the costs of things were a lot less. Nowadays, I don't even want to imagine what it would cost to open up a distillery. So unfortunately, small boutique names are competing against monsters. We saw that recently domestically in Ontario with 40 Creek's sale of their product. Okay, John K. Hall sold 40 Creek to Peaty, which is an Italian liquor company. All right, Peaty owns a whole bunch of them too. They're nearing the status of a Diageo. All right. So this is happening, and new companies that want to establish themselves have a very difficult time because the cost of doing what they do, they can't produce whiskey fast enough to pay for it. All right, and you see that with your stock and barrel. That's why they have to charge a little bit more for a younger product because, Still Water Distillery, which is the company that makes stock and barrel. So, long story short, Diageo and companies like that are kind of the enemy because what they're doing to the market, or what they're doing to the profession of whiskey making, is making it out of reach for people that are just passionate about making whiskey. All right, it wouldn't be a Whiskey in the Six with Rob unless there was a little bit of a rant. Anyway, to this very good whiskey despite who currently owns them. Okay, campfire right off the hop. It's smoky, it's peaty, but not overly so. If there is such a thing for some of you people, because I know there's people out there that the smokier and peatier, the better. And all the respect to you. Okay, there's some apple there. The nose is pretty sweet. Despite the smoke and peatiness, it's pretty sweet. Okay. So a bit of fresh apple, I would say. And some citrus in there. Maybe a little bit of orange peel or lemon. Yeah, lemon. That's what I'm going to go with. Alright, on the palate. It's a very tasty Scotch. Get that smokiness, honey, the apples there as well. Okay, again on the palate. Some fresh fruits such as apples, fresh pear, and maybe a hint of orange peel or lemon, like I said earlier. Orange peel and lemon are two different things, but you get that touch of bitterness, and that's what I'm picking up here. Lemon is a little more bitter than actual orange. I'm getting a little bit of that. Okay, so what prevents this from being a perfect Scotch for me? This is a very good Scotch. Every once in a while, you get a vegetal note to it. I'm gonna say it's something like a spinach. I know that sounds gross. It's not overly off-putting, and it's very seldom, and it comes and it goes quickly. And all the honey and the sweetness, the fruitiness, that overpowers that vegetal note, but it's there, and it kind of throws me off for a second every once in a while. And it's even in the nose. Once you start to think about it, you do smell it. I'm gonna say it's almost like an asparagus on the nose. Not the whole nose, just that vegetal note that I'm talking about, okay? But still, like I said, a really, really good Scotch. One more taste. Yeah, really, really good. Lots of honey, lots of apple, some pear, and I'm gonna say a little bit of lemon, more on the nose than on the palate. But you get your campfire, your smokiness, that earthy peatiness, which is really good. I think 18 to 20 is the ideal for me. I do really like my Lagavulin. The nose kind of drops off for me because it's overwhelming at first, and then it kind of settles a little bit later on. But this is really good stuff. Okay, and I'm gonna eventually do my Ardbeg and like a Lafrogue or Bowmore. All right, Bowmore's a little less peaty, but I will be doing those in the near future. Okay. If I have to grade this, I would say this is a solid A-. Okay, I'm teetering between a B+ and an A- just because of that vegetal note, that like spinachy, yeah. But I'm gonna stick with the A-. This is really good stuff. For a 10-year-old, it's pretty expensive. It's $100 Canadian. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't checked abroad to see how much it goes for in other countries, but for a 10-year-old, that's pretty expensive. Nowhere on the bottle. Just want to make sure that I'm not making things up. Yeah. Nowhere on the bottle or the box does it say nacho filtered, no added color. So we can assume that that's happened here. Its saving grace is that it's bottled at 45.8%. Okay, so almost 46%. So it's bottled at a nice strength. So that makes up for the chill filtration and possible added color. There's very few Diageo owned distilleries that put out non-chill filtered, no added color whiskeys. Okay, Diageo is all about mass production, mass selling, and they purchase very strategically to support their money-making habits. Okay, so anyway, I'm not gonna rant anymore about Diageo. They, along with others, are unfortunately hurting the market, in my opinion. Hurting what could potentially be a much better product. And that's Scotch as a whole, or whiskey as a whole, in Canada, in the United States, and in Scotland, okay, as well as all the other countries. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Toronto Raptors. We the North, the wrong side. Anyway, Toronto Raptors doing really well. They tied up the series the other night, and hopefully they can get the next one. All right, congratulations Raptors, and keep up the good work. That's it. A-. I hope you like this. If you are already a subscriber, please share with a friend that might like whiskeys or Scotch. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe below. Thank you all very much. I have Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, I'm at whiskey_in_the6, and on Twitter, I'm at whiskey_in_the_6. Cheers, guys.